Welcome to this edition of SKNIS Weekend Review. The Weekend Review highlights the top stories of the work of the government for the past week. Let's take a look at some of the highlights for the week of March 4th to 9th. 8 women awarded for their contribution to nation building. Government holds a lecture on good governance and accountability. Early childhood is vital and SMART project launched. I am your presenter, Sherima Matthew. The Ministry of Community Development, Gender Affairs and Social Services joined the international community on March 8, 2017 in celebration of International Women's Day under the campaign theme Be Bold for Change, with an annual awards ceremony held under the distinguished patronage of the Governor-General, His Excellency Sir Tapley Seaton at Government House. 8 pioneering women, namely Shirley Julius, Tiandra Brown, Michelle de la Coudray Blake, Yvette Slack, Antoinette Henry, Lucretia Sargent, Dr. Patricia Richards Leader, and Beulah Mills were celebrated for their stellar contributions to nation building in the fields of tourism, transportation, nurturing, public service, construction, athletics, entrepreneurship, counseling, volunteerism, and gerontology. Director of Gender Affairs, Celia Christopher, said that this year's theme for the commemoration of International Women's Day, Women in the Changing World of Work, Planet 50-50 by 2030, is quite significant, while paying particular attention to the campaign theme.
It is simply a rallying cry to women across the globe to fight for gender equality in their communities, workplaces, or wherever they are, since we can all be leaders within our own spheres of influence by taking bold, pragmatic action through collaboration. To be bold for change also means A, we can support women's education. B, we can help women advance and unleash the limitless potential offered to economies throughout the world. C, or we can help to stop gender-based violence. So there is no single way to be bold for change.
The acting director said that the Department of Gender Affairs will be partnering with a number of civil society and private and public sector organizations to conduct a number of activities throughout the month of March to celebrate International Women's Day 2017. Continuing in the cheerful spirit of its 2nd anniversary in office with 50+ accomplishments to date, the Government of National Unity pushes ahead with its good governance agenda, this time with a lecture on good governance and accountability, which was delivered by the Honorable Justice Adrian Saunders at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank on March 9th. Justice Saunders touched on an important issue that is currently being discussed in St. Kitts and Nevis, and that is the issue of freedom of information.
Information legislation would go a long way to addressing the issue of enhancing the rule of law.
The lecture was held under the distinguished patronage of His Excellency Sir Tapley Seaton, Governor-General of St. Kitts and Nevis. The official opening on Tuesday, March 7th of the 3 Million Victoria Road Preschool was an event that was welcomed by parents, teachers, and government officials as efforts to advance the early childhood education system and building a strong human resource pool in St. Kitts and Nevis continues. The 7,000 square foot facility features 4 classrooms, 2 bathrooms, a kitchen with a pantry, a laundry, a storeroom on the ground floor, while the upper level comprises of an office for the director, staff room for teachers, a sick bay, bathrooms and storerooms. Director of Public Works Department, Cromwell Williams, said an additional 3,800 square foot of space is also available in the basement. In giving remarks at the opening ceremony, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris referred to the St. Kitts and Nevis's reputation of having a model early childhood education and a development system in the Caribbean region, as recognized by neighboring governments and international institutions such as the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF. He said, "This trend must continue as officials have made investment in the human resource a priority." The government of St. Kitts and Nevis has continued to invest in early childhood education as it plays a vital role in the child's development, says Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, the Honorable Sean Richards. At a ceremony to mark the official opening of the Victoria Road Preschool, the minister said that the government is committed to its goal to have 100% of the Federation's children engaged in early childhood development.
As a matter of fact, it is because of this why the government took a decision very recently to ensure that for each child, whether at a public or private center, that the government pays a subvention of $25 towards the cost of attendance of each child. So that if your child is at a private center and the cost is $50, the government subsidizes it to the extent of $25 for your child. That is a significant investment. We have to continue to invest in our people. We have determined that just as primary school and secondary school education is free of cost, so too, as much as possible, must be early childhood education, especially at that stage when your child needs the help most.
The Education Minister mentioned that the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, has said that the Early Childhood Development Unit in St. Kitts and Nevis is one that should be emulated across the Caribbean. The St. Kitts and Nevis National Commission for UNESCO, in collaboration with the Department of Gender Affairs and the Ministry of Education and Youth Empowerment, launched a Single Mothers Advancement and Resilient Training SMART project on Thursday, March 9th. Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Education and Youth Empowerment, the Honorable Sean Richards, said that the project is quite timely and of significant importance.
I am confident that it will add much value and indeed complement the work that is being done by my ministry and our efforts in the delivery of education to our children. It also complements the work of the Youth Department as we attempt to empower our young people, especially those who are single mothers. I am of the opinion that once our parents are trained in the various disciplines outlined in this project, it is highly possible that they will pass on the knowledge to their children. This will make the job of teachers much easier and improve the chances of our students to learn and to be more productive.
The program will run for a period of 8 months, culminating in November 2017. The SMART project is intended to promote healthy lifestyles for single mothers and to empower them to be better parents. It is also intended to help to improve their standard of living by increasing their income-generating capacity, thereby reducing poverty and the resulting social ills. St. Kitts and Nevis's passports comes in for high praises as it is now ranked number 1 in the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, number 2 in CARICOM, behind Bahamas, and number 50 in the world of 199 countries and territories. This was revealed by Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, who was at the time quoting the Nomad Passport Index 2017 during his monthly press conference on Thursday, March 9th. Dr. Harris also mentioned that St. Kitts and Nevis now has the 6th strongest passport in the hemisphere and the 4th in Latin America and the Caribbean. He spoke to a number of key indicators that were used to determine the results.
The methodology used in this most recent passport ranking considered, among other factors, visa-free travel, which they accorded a high score of 50%. Taxation policy, issues to do with freedom, the facility with which persons can have more than one citizenship among others. It is amazing that in 2 years, international confidence in our passport is now at an all-time high.
Dr. Harris said that policy actions such as the removal of the place of birth made St. Kitts and Nevis's passports vulnerable to attacks. He added that it was against this backdrop that the government made it extremely important to ensure that this was corrected.
Specific initiatives of my government, such as increasing our diplomatic footprint and the number of countries with which we now have visa-free entry, have helped. So too have our competitive tax policy, the high level of democratic freedoms, including press freedoms, enjoy here, and the enhanced reputation of our country attributed inter alia to the platinum status of our reorganized CBI program, resulting in our prestigious standing. The international acclaim of St. Kitts and Nevis as a tourist destination, as well as our exceptionally high ranking among the most dynamic countries investing in ICTs, our fiscal surpluses and tax-free budgets have no doubt also impacted positively on the perception of our beloved country.
Plans to construct a new prison facility and a new Coast Guard base in St. Kitts and Nevis are forging ahead, as stated by Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris on Thursday, March 9th, when he updated the nation on a number of national safety and security development matters at his monthly press conference.
Some 9 entities expressed interest in tendering for the preparation of designs, etc., for the new correctional facility which will be built at Estridge Estate. 6 were shortlisted, 3 from St. Kitts and Nevis, 1 from Barbados, 1 from Jamaica, and 1 from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You ask why we are opening it up? Part of the good governance agenda. We are opening up to ensure that we get the best value for money.
Prime Minister Harris said that $2.2 million has been budgeted for the capital projects. Acts of sexual exploitation against women, including those posted on social media featuring young girls, have been denounced by the Department of Gender Affairs, which is working with partners to address the problem. Director of Gender Affairs, Celia Christopher, said officers have been going out to the communities and educating women about the signs and dangers of exploitation and conducting self-esteem building activities. However, Ms. Christopher said other strategies are being developed.
We are going to have to couple the education with something else. What is that something else? We are still speaking. And because we have our partners now, they would probably bring a new perspective that we have not seen in the Department of Gender Affairs to help us to tackle this whole issue of self-worth and self-esteem and so on. And that is why I say I want to go back to getting the church involved, because they could probably bring something that another perspective to the whole thing.
Equally important, the acting director said that changing the behaviors and mindsets of men and women is key to eradicating gender-based violence in the society. Mrs. Christopher said that in this regard, the ministry has done training sessions with men both inside and outside of prison. Minister of State responsible for gender affairs, the Honorable Wendy Phipps, expounded on the role of the church in helping to address these matters.
The cabinet has reignited its social alliance with the churches, primarily the evangelical associations and Christian councils on both islands. And I know that Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Vance Amory, who is also the Federal Minister of Ecclesiastical Affairs, has been charged with rebuilding that type of relationship for the very reasons and problems that we have expounded on thus far. And I know based on the last meeting we would have had with the representatives from the churches, they have agreed to certain deliverables among them being the reintroduction of a chaplaincy in all of the schools. And then hopefully we can get some mentoring programs going on.
Minister of State responsible for Gender Affairs, the Honorable Wendy Phipps. A total of 396 goods, including children's gift sets, male and female clothing, sporting equipment, household items, and stationery, among other things, were donated to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to be distributed to charity and faith-based institutions, hospitals, and daycares, as well as other organizations in an effort to meaningfully benefit a number of persons. The items were donated by the Simply Help Foundation, based in Los Angeles, the United States. They were accepted during a handing over ceremony at the Customs Conference Room on Thursday, March 9th, by the Honorable Sean Richards, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, on behalf of the government and by extension the various organizations and persons who will benefit from the donations. Minister Richards said that the items will benefit children in particular, as many mothers in the Federation are single mothers who do not get the necessary support required. He said that such persons will be thankful for the items.
The fact is that we have many vulnerable persons within our Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and I am certain that these items will go a very long way in bringing much needed relief to these persons. Our children in the early childhood development centers will become beneficiaries. Some of these items will indeed go a long way, not only in relieving the financial burden on their own parents, but also in bringing comfort to the very same children, whether it is providing them with education materials or providing them with clothing that they can use to wear to school. These items will make a difference, not just today, in the lives of those children.
The Education Minister said that the impact that the items will make on the recipients' future development is one that cannot truly be measured. He extended thanks to the donors and the government and people of the Republic of China, Taiwan, for their continued support. Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, outgoing chairman of the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States Authority, said that although regional integration is a work in progress, the member states and the OACS Commission continue to work hand in hand on a number of important matters relevant to each member, and one in particular is the Citizenship by Investment program. Prime Minister Harris said that it was important that CBI regulators are on the same page and continue to adapt to any challenges that occur. Dr. Harris said that the CBI programs within the region continue to grow, and so it is important for member states to continue to work to ensure that they remain on top.
That program, in terms of its attractiveness to countries as part of their strategy for development, as part of their strategy to get financial space, that program has taken on greater importance, and so it now has to find its way not only within the realm of the work of the central bank, but more importantly within the Commission that is more strategically placed and has treaty responsibility for the macroeconomic picture of our country, whereas the central bank more deal with the financial arm. And so we have been able now to rest this, as it were.
The Prime Minister made specific mention of the CBI program in St. Kitts and Nevis, stating that it had suffered in 2014, starting with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network FinCEN advisory. He added that against this backdrop, it was extremely important to readjust, reposition, and recalibrate the local program, thus allowing it to regain global attention. At a jubilant ceremony in London at the Federation's High Commission, St. Kitts and Nevis and the Democratic Federal Republic of Ethiopia officially established diplomatic relations. The signature of the joint communique formalizing ties between the two countries marks a significant milestone for the Federation given the storied history between the Caribbean and the African country. St. Kitts and Nevis's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Dr. Kevin Isaac, informed the Ethiopian envoy of the influence of their country in the Federation, and indeed the Caribbean, through the Rastafarian community. Dr. Isaac called for both countries to continue leveraging that history to seek new grounds for cooperation in education, commerce, tourism, and cultural exchanges. High Commissioner Isaac preferred the idea of both countries sharing expertise and best practices in areas such as sugar production and tourism. Both envoys also called for increased bilateral and multilateral cooperation across important dossiers such as climate change. The Ethiopian envoy reciprocated and pledged to advance the spirit of cooperation enshrined in the joint communique. Thanks for viewing SKNIS Weekend Review. I am Sherma Matthew. See you next week as we continue to update you, the general public, on what's happening in and around the Federation.